Hi there, it's Cristina Chomillas, and we're here with Laura Escola to share with you how to contribute to Claro's issue queue, the new Drupal core admin theme. So here are several links that can help you start getting involved into contributing to development. Here is the page that you can actually use to start doing that and start reading about the tools and everything that you might need. It's contribute/development, and actually here you have a lot of resources and ways to actually learn everything. I'm not going to go deep into that. I'm not going to explain this page. You have it online and you can actually take the time to read it with at your own path, and it's going to be probably much easier if you do that. Just FYI, here you have a lot of links that will be useful in this first page. For example, what is a patch, which is actually how we work right now at Drupal for creating new changes or working on something that is in there, how to create patches and so on. You can find it here. You can learn what is a patch and how to generate it, what tools do you need. And also it is important that you know what is an interdiff. An interdiff is actually something that will help anybody that is going to review the work on an issue to see what's the differences between one patch and another. So those are the links. We're going to share the links below the video, so don't worry about not catching the numbers right now. We're posting the links in there later on. So jumping a little bit further, as you already know at this point, Claro is in Drupal core right now. If you want to work with Claro and look for issues for Claro, you actually have to go to the issues for the Drupal project, so it's Drupal core, and filter them by the Claro component here. And if you actually want to get a little bit more of information about the issue queues and how this works and how to create an issue or how to review it, you can go into this video, Drupalize Me. It has some years right now, but most of this information it still applies. So feel free to just take 10 minutes to watch it. Through that. Okay, so this is an issue. Basically, it usually has a summary, some meta information here, and also it has all the comments. It might have patches. If you wonder what's that, that's Redditor. It's basically a browser plugin that will help you working with patches, reviewing them, downloading them. There's a Firefox version that I'm using, and you also have the Chrome version. So here you have the form for actually commenting in there, and here you can actually change the version, the priority, the feature, and all the metadata that can help here. And actually you are able to, anybody is able to edit the summary. And then jumping into the front-end developer tools that you might need, this is the link. We're going to paste it below the video, but Laura is going to explain us a little bit more about that.
Okay, so I'm gonna show how to make some changes to Claro and create a patch based on that. So first of all, you have to have a Drupal installation specific for contributing to Drupal on your computer. And so I'm personally using just the PHP built-in server for running a web server that I use for testing my development environment. But you can pick any of the approaches listed on the link below the video. So I'm going to go on PHP Storm first. And so I have Drupal core here. And so Claro is in Drupal core. So when you go in the core folder, themes, and Claro, that's where you can find all of the files related to Claro. So I'm gonna take the content header file first, and so it's a CSS file. And something to note when you work with CSS is that Claro is using post CSS. So we have two types of files in the CSS folder. So we have files that are postfix with pcss.css, and then we have just .css. So the files that you want to be editing manually are the ones with the that include pcss, because those are the CSS files that hasn't been processed yet. And then the .css files will be generated automatically by our build tools. Okay, so I'm gonna make some small change here. So I'm gonna change the background color to absolute 0. And so what I have to do now is, because so I don't have the watch command running right now, so the background color hasn't changed. As you can see on PHP Storm, it's still white. It doesn't have the light blue color. So I'm gonna go to command line to try to set up my build tools. So first of all, what you need to have is you need to have Node version 12. I'm personally using NVM, so I'm just going to say NVM use 12, and now I have Node 12. And then after that, I can run the yarn install. So the yarn install is going to take a while, and so once the yarn install has finished, you should be able to run yarn build CSS. And this is going to compile all of the CSS files that are in core. Now, if I refresh the page, you can see that the color of the header has changed. So it's a bit time consuming to always manually run the build CSS. So what I recommend is using the watch command, because it makes it much more convenient. So you just run yarn watch CSS, and it's basically going to just keep running this command and keep watching changes in CSS files. And now if I change this to something else, it should say here that it's being processed and it's finished. And then if I go here, it should be reflected. So that's how we recommend running the post CSS. What else you should consider is we have linters for checking coding standards in CSS. So I'm going to run yarn lint CSS, and it's going to check that the changes that I made in the file are compatible with our coding standards. And since I only changed one variable, it should be fine. But I'm going to make a change. I'm going to just add an empty space here, and this should cause a warning in our linting. So yeah, now you can see unexpected empty line before declaration. It will tell you the line and the file where you have that. You can also run yarn lint CSS fix, and it can fix some types of coding standard violations. So for example, this violation, because it doesn't have any impact on the runtime code, it can fix automatically. And now it's gone from the file. So now that we've changed the background color to light gray, and I'm happy with the change, I'm gonna create a patch out of that. So I'm gonna go to the root of my Drupal directory. I'm gonna check all of the changes that I have. So I run git diff. So I can see that 2 files has been changed and the changes look correct. So what I can do now is say git diff, and then you have to just enter the name of the patch. So I'm just gonna say here So usually what we say is we add the issue number and the comment, but because of this is just for demonstration purposes, I don't have an issue in mind, so I'm just going to add a random number, and then this would be the comment number, and then we call it dot patch, and that's how we create a patch. Now if I go with this one, we can see that it includes all of the changes. And so I'm gonna now reset all of my changes. Oops. And I'm gonna apply that patch. So I recommend using git apply -- index, and then you can say the name of the patch, and now you should see them here. However, if you've indexed the files when you generate the patch, you have to call git diff cached, because otherwise, if you just call git diff, you get only the changes that are not staged. And I think that's the basic steps that you need when you work on creating a patch and modifying CSS in Claro. Good luck.
Okay, thanks, Laurie. What we're going to do is post a link to an issue where we have several Claro issues that we've prepared for this sprint. So feel free to jump into that spreadsheet, or just jump into the admin UI channel in the Drupal Slack. And feel free to ask for any work that you might want to do. Feel free to say if it's just for CSS, if you will prefer to start just reviewing some issues to start feeling more comfortable with the process, or anything. So we will be there for you, and just see you in the issue queue.